Morning and welcome to the Killik & Co podcast for Friday the 25th of September. Another extremely volatile week, and that's been exacerbated by the VW emission scandal. So a lot of the losses that we experienced early in the week have been regained today by a stronger market, particularly the DAX, which is very strong today. But we'll just run through a few of the issues that we've seen this week that have been pushing numbers around. First has been further concern over deflation, particularly you can see in the 5-year break-even numbers that the Fed looks at. They really want this number, which is at 1.2, to be at a 2% level for inflation, and they're getting increasingly concerned about the fact that we're not seeing wage inflation coming through, so they've lowered the expectation for the rate of full employment at which we start to see wage inflation coming through. So that's feeding into the reluctance to raise interest rates, which we saw last week. Also saw the US dollar go to a 12-year high following more weakness in emerging market currencies. We had a rate cut in Taiwan. We also had a rate cut in Norway this week. We've had extreme volatility in the Brazilian real, which yesterday rebounded around 8.5% off its lows, so perhaps it's put in a short-term bottom there. Equally, we had durable goods numbers this week, which were down 2%, and we had a Kansas City Fed number, which was poor and points to a weaker ISM manufacturing number. So all of these things are confirmation of trends we've been talking about for quite a long time. But we're starting to see, we are seeing further evidence of them coming into company results, and that's the key thing for us. So Caterpillar had their numbers this week, and we're still seeing further downgrades in their guidance in terms of EPS, as they warned that they saw substantial weakness in their oil and mining divisions. So we've now had the first 4 years of consecutive revenue decreases in their 90-year history. So quite a serious issue in terms of this unbalance between emerging markets and developed markets, and that effect on commodities and then therefore on developed market equities in some cases. On the other side of the coin, we've seen really strong new homes sales data in August, and here we can see it's now at an 8-year high, but well off the levels that it had been back in 2005. So looking forward to next week's results, we've got Woolsey coming in terms of their results next week, and that new homes data has been a key barometer for their share price, and here we can see that new homes data tracking with the share price quite closely. So it will be interesting to see how that goes next week. Other stocks to watch out for next week, so Woolsey on Tuesday, we've got Compass on Wednesday. Those are the key announcements. It's pretty thin in terms of numbers. But we have had a couple of quite big announcements this week that we sort of alluded to last week in the podcast. So night numbers came in, and they were very strong. So that for us is a good barometer for regional activity, consumer behaviour, and our health awareness theme. So we saw some good upgrades on the back of that. And the key numbers were earnings were up 23% quarter on quarter. Growth in China was up 27%. Their margins were expanding by 7.4% outside of the US. And this direct-to-customer division, which is their online offering, was growing at 31%. So further evidence of a strong consumer and disruption in that space. This is, as I say, supportive of our digital disruption idea, which is Accenture. They also reported strong numbers on Thursday, which are top end of expectations. But really the key to that story is their digital division, which is helping companies disrupt existing industries. And that saw acceleration in their numbers to a 35% quarter-on-quarter growth rate against a 30% growth rate the previous quarter. So as you can see, there's major imbalances in terms of what's working, what's not, and it's further trends that we have seen coming through for the last couple of years, but perhaps an acceleration of those. So Thanks very much. Have a good weekend.